Hello, this is Paloma. I come back with the story the sky is telling for the next few days. Thank you for your time, your energy, your comments. I'm very excited and humbled that this channel is growing. So we are arriving to the second eclipse of the season. This is an annular eclipse. It's a new moon in Libra on the 10th degree. If you want to maybe go back in time and have some clues about what is going on in terms of this eclipse. We had one similar, not the same, but similar eclipse in 2005 in the 10th degree of Libra, precisely. So there you can have maybe going back in time in the spirals of time, so you can maybe find out what this is speaking to you of. And also, this is the third eclipse in Libra of the whole journey with the nodes in Aries Libra, so you might already know. So these annular eclipses, they are a ring of fire. To me, they are kind of my favorite eclipses. I think they represent a lot of purification, transformation, incredible power of rebirth. So it's the last eclipse in Libra from the whole series. So we are at the end of this very deep and profound journey that we've been in since 2023. Therefore, there is like this flavor of a resolution, of a definition. I actually find that this moment, the whole month of October, it's a lot about final decisions. Does everything happen on the day of the eclipse? No, not at all. It is a season. We've been pondering these subjects, these decisions for quite some time. But there is this like climax, no? Like this intensity within the portal between eclipses and also the 2 weeks after the eclipse, because we're going to have a pretty wild, intense full moon in Aries at the middle point of October. So I don't think it'll take too long for us to have certainty in terms of what we are deciding and where is this place that is in an imperative way calling us to restore balance, equilibrium, and harmony. Some place in our lives is really calling for this, and it most likely implies someone else, because we are speaking of Libra, which is the school of relationships. So this is a south node eclipse, which is the tail of the dragon. Is this place where we do the cleansing, the purging, the letting go. And throughout this whole almost year and a half now, we've been working in our relationship patterns, right? So since this is the last eclipse in Libra, it feels, as I said, like a karmic ending in terms of these relationship patterns and the last chapter of a story. It will have a development, but it feels like we're really getting to the last chapter of a story. There is an update. An update in that allows the space for the seed. It is also a new moon, for the seed of this new dawn or this new beginning. I think the seed of these new beginnings have to do with authentic relationships, with mutuality, with equity, with true co-creation and evolution. And I think all relationships will go through this ring of fire to purify their intent, our pain, and also then being able to plant the seed of true harmony and peace. Honestly, it's about peace. I have the sensation that we are ready, that we are ready to go through this threshold, that the decisions have been made, at least at the level of our hearts, and that there will be a moment very, very soon where we are going to be invited, or we're going to have a strong need to actually verbalize, to communicate, to speak and set in action, coherent action, all of these decisions. Libra is justice. So there's also this image, remember from the Egyptian goddess Mat, where a heart is being weighted to a feather. I would ask you, like, what is weighing in your heart? How could you restore the balance in terms of this that feels heavy, what can you offer to this fire precisely as an offering, so you can reconnect with the natural state of your heart, which is eternal joy. So in the sky, we're going to see the sun, the moon, and Lilith, and some other characters. There's Lilith, there's Makemake, there's Mercury, and there's Juno, but let's start with Lilith. Lilith is the power of the shadow. Okay, she is rebellious. She's a sovereign woman that would not accept the patriarchal forgiveness because she doesn't need it. No, so to me, it emphasizes this very energetic invitation to radical, raw authenticity. It's very visceral, the energy from Lilith. No, I think we can actually tap into this very rebellious, empowered, and raw, authentic energy on the other side of this ring of fire, because the first stage of working with the energy of Lilith is working through our projections and shame. Actually, Lilith is one of the places that connects us to these places where we just feel ashamed of parts of ourselves that we tend to hide because we think we're going to lose love, or that we feel inadequate about. And this is a beautiful, truly beautiful opportunity to embrace ourselves complete, feeling whole again. Anything that made us believe that we weren't, this can be retrieved here through the power of Lilith and the power of embracing the shadow towards loving us in who we are today, without the need to heal more or do more. No, it's just starting by giving ourselves the love and creating the space, a compassionate space for all of these exiled parts of ourselves to be redeemed through our embrace. When we integrate Lilith, then she becomes power. She becomes personal power that emerges from the depth of the connection to our core being. There is a stellium in Libra, and there's another beautiful character that I'm going to mention because I think, it's important. I'm talking about Chariklo. She's doing a trine to the whole stellium in Libra. Chariklo is a wife of Chiron, the wounded healer. And I think she holds space. She's a healer as well. Chariklo holds space through first allowing, then accepting, eventually surrendering ourselves to that which we are feeling. And then she transforms this into grace and compassion. This is the potential of her holding space through the journey of the eclipse. She is collaborating in an exquisite way, really. As I said, she is the wife of Chiron, so I call her the healer of healers. She's in the 13th degree of Aquarius. What I do want to mention is with Lilith, the whole climate or the weather of the eclipse and the decisions we're going to make is very gaudy, like very visceral, like it comes from a very instinctive place, and this is beautiful as well. We just have to be aware of how we give the information and how we choose to communicate, because the nuance is going to be there. Okay, Mercury is part of the eclipse. It's actually eclipsed as well. He's there conjoined the sun. So our mind is going to be eclipsed, which I think is kind of healthy, because we won't be able to have that much access to our rationality. So we can actually tap into these very raw expressions of ourselves and find the truth, from the core. Yet, there is a possibility of, by not having access to rationality and being triggered to express ourselves in ways that are, I don't know, maybe just not very diplomatic. So let's just be aware of that. Mercury is also going to go through the ring of fire. So I think any remnant of conditioning from our family, from our ancestors, from our cultures can be burned here, because Mercury is in a square to Mars in Cancer. So I think there's a lot that can be purged here in terms of the cords we kept with the idea of how relationships were supposed to be. Okay, Mars is part of the eclipse. He's squaring the eclipse, actually. I've mentioned that Mars in Cancer has like different frequencies, and that we're going to talk a lot about him because there's going to be a journey. But Mars in Cancer in the low vibration can be extremely reactive because he's very territorial, like very attached to what is familiar, and has from that attachment some difficulty of letting go what gives us security. And this is an eclipse. We let go of things that are familiar and that gave us security. So there is discomfort. But it is precisely this discomfort that catalyzes change. So the important thing will be, how are we going to manage the discomfort? And I think there is a path through emotional intelligence versus reactivity. And there's also a lot of assistance for this. As I said, there's the sun, the moon, Lilith, and then there's Makemake. I don't usually speak of these Kuiper belt objects here because my videos would be 2 hours long, like my classes. But I think this is an amazing character, so I do want to mention Makemake because Makemake is in the 10th degree of Libra. It's precisely there in the eclipse. So who is Makemake? Makemake is a creator deity, creator god from the Easter Islands, and this is also fascinating. This eclipse can be actually seen in the Easter Islands. So I think this gives, I don't know, it just brings Makemake to our attention. And the story of Makemake is quite interesting because it's not only a story of creation, it's a story of regeneration after the devastation of the land and of the earth and all of what happened in Easter Island. So there is this seed with Makemake of regeneration, of restoring balance within all our relationships. And this opens us up to a dimension of Libra that goes beyond romantic relationships into the interrelation of all of life, you know, of the immensity of the ecosystems that we are participating in. So there is a calling to entering this awareness and restoring balance from there, from the micro within the ecosystems in our bodies into the cosmos. Remember that we are relations. We are relationships. I don't think we can keep studying astrology without ecology, you know, the relationship of everything with everything, so that life can keep flourishing into more beauty and more diversity. Okay, there's also Juno there in Libra. It's a very big stellium. Juno is the asteroid of commitment. So how I understand Juno, wherever she is, there is a commitment that speaks of something that is non-negotiable. Okay, and she's part of the seed of this eclipse. So I think there is a commitment to justice that is non-negotiable, to harmony, and to the restoration of balance. This means we will not sacrifice balance, harmony, and justice for the sake of appearance. Any appearance, any mask, any superficial agreement will simply not survive the fire of this ring of fire, you know. It's very much about truth, because the ruler of the eclipse is Venus in Scorpio, and there's nothing superficial when we speak of Venus in Scorpio, you know. So she's just adding to what I've already mentioned. She is profound, she is intense, she's gonna dive deep and try and find the poisons, the toxicity, whatever has gone bad in our forms, in our relationships, so it can be transmuted. She is an alchemist, so it can be transmuted into actual medicine, into true power, a power in service to a higher power, divine love. So it is a work of self-love, of choosing ourselves in a moment that seems challenging because of the amount of energy from the past that is somehow present right now. Let me see if I can explain myself. There are like echoes, like the past is being present, and we have mentioned this, no? So the South Node brings themes from the past, people from the past. We are at the last few weeks of Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. We are cleansing memory. We are finishing like karmic contracts and just freeing karma from our experiences, so we can actually bloom into these new beginnings, into these honorable, re-evolutionary, and genuinely reciprocal relationships. So Venus is helping out with that. She is part of an extraordinarily beautiful trine of water with Venus in Scorpio, Mars in Cancer, Saturn in Pisces. I think this is the gift of this eclipse. This great trine gives flow to this energy, and it's also about feeling. We are already feeling a lot. Which also requires this emotional intelligence, so we can go about it with beauty, with grace, with regulation, with this emotional intelligence. It really means to have the capacity to discern my emotional experience from yours. It also means that I am to assume the full responsibility for my emotional experience, and also the ability to communicate my emotions clearly, respectfully, and with a high degree of empathy. And this is going to be important because it is a weather that it's kind of triggering, I must say. But there's Saturn there, and Saturn is asking precisely that. Be responsible about it, no? Saturn, for me, in this beautiful trine, to me, it's like he's officiating this renewal of the vows of feminine and masculine energy. The cosmic lovers, Venus and Mars, are there in front of Saturn. And I think there is a renewal from deep emotion, from true intimacy and intelligence and responsibility in terms of feelings. So there's a new commitment here. The other side, or another expression of this, is a lot of overwhelm, like emotional overwhelm. And Lilith, when she's in her shadow, it's very chaotic. And then there's Mars, that's very reactive, and is talking with Mercury, that we might, end up saying something in a very explosive way. We are, I guess, what I want to say is we could project all of this into someone else. Maybe your partner or children, father, mother, government, I don't know. And it is in us to choose to navigate with temperance our own waters, because this is a purifying of our desire, of our pain, of our past, that is giving us the opportunity to create new agreements through consensus, new unions, new relationships, new divine encounters. And there's that, of course, it's a new moon. There's new relationships, new associations, new partnerships that truly honor who we are now. There is a phrase, let me see if I can actually translate this, that I was sharing in the Spanish version of this video, which is to allow the other one to appear. This is a form of love that is based in respect and consideration. The idea can be summarized in love as giving space to the other one to have and be a presence. I think I got it. It's from this great philosopher, biologist, Umberto Maturana. And if we think of physics, if the whole tangible world exists because we are witnessing it, this is the beauty of the axis of the encounter, is to take off the filters of conditioning from my eyes, so I can actually see you and allow you to appear. And with that same vulnerability, allow myself to be seen, to be witnessed. And then the miracle happens, the encounter. To be with me whilst being me. To be with you whilst being us at the same time. Okay, family. If you have planets or points, I would say from the 6th till the 15th degree of the cardinal signs, this will imply you in a more personal way. Identify where you have the 10th degree of Libra, which house area of life is being moved, transformed. It's not new. You've already been doing this for about a year and a half. So you probably know what this chapter is really culminating for you, and also the seed that you want to plant here for the next station of your life in terms of how you want to relate. And I think that's what I have for you guys. Yes. Thank you so much for listening. Blessings.